We have officially hit 4 years of owning dairy goats. 4 years, like 2 months ago, a month ago? I think early June was when we hit our 4-year mark from when we got our first dairy goats. So I wanted to go over if we still enjoy having them, because it's a lot of work, a lot of money. We put a lot of time into these girls. We're currently milking 10 a day, which is quite a large number of goats to be milking twice a day, every day. And I also wanted to talk about how we got started with dairy goats, why I got them originally, why we have them now, and our goals with the herd. Because I have a lot of people ask me what my herd goals are, and there's two, and they're big, and they kind of clash with each other a little bit, but I see herds doing it, so I know that we can do it. It's just going to take a while. So first I'm going to get this milk dumped out. We'll see how much milk we got this morning. I do have this bucket here that Cookie stepped in, so all of this milk is going to go down the drain, and the rest is all going to go into a bucket, into the fridge, filtered into a bucket, into the fridge. So just imagine that this is also on top of that. We're averaging about 4+ gallons of milk per milking, so a little over 8 gallons a day. So I'll get these girls down, get the milk dumped, and we'll talk about goats. What are you looking at? Huh? What are you looking at? Come on. Come on. This is a 5-gallon bucket, and then I've got that milk pail full, or half full, that I'm gonna dump. So I'd say between the two, there probably would have been 4 gallons in this bucket, roughly. And the best part about making your own cheese is that when you're hungry after you're done milking, you can get a cheese snack. This is some feta I made, I don't know, like a month ago. I have like a little personal jar in there of feta that I just eat throughout the day, and then I have another jar that we're aging for 60 days, and then hopefully we'll start selling feta eventually. It's the goal. What's up? I'm cleaning the machine, but I'm gonna make a video, so.
Huh?
I said I'm cleaning the machine, but I'm gonna make a video, so. You gonna watch me?
I'm gonna.
We started this herd 4 years ago, and we started with 2 Nubians. We've now grown quite a bit. We have neither of those goats, actually. Now we have Nubians and La Manchas. The goal, or the reason that we started, was because I wanted to make cheese. My dream has been to have a licensed dairy since I was 13. I'm not really sure why I decided that that's what I wanted to do when I got older, but I really liked goat cheese, and it was just something that popped into my head, and it shocked people when they asked me what I wanted to be when I was older. When you tell people you want to be a goat farmer and you want to make goat cheese, people tend to laugh. So that was the dream, and I didn't know if it was ever going to happen. I was washing dishes when I was like 16 at a few restaurants, and I had told somebody that worked at the restaurant with me that I wanted to do that, and they said, well, why don't you go work at a goat farm? And I was like, well, I didn't know you could just go work at a goat farm. So I got a job working at a creamery. We milked around 60 does twice a day. She made tons of cheese, and that was the first time that I ever worked with goats. So I completely fell in love with them. And that's how it all started. So I was like, I'm going to get my license, my dairy license. I'm going to have goats. And when we got this place, we started renting it from my grandfather. I told him, I said, when I move in, there's a little shed out back, which is that. And it was full of trash, and I was like, can I clean it out and can I put goats in it? And my dad and my grandfather were like, absolutely, do whatever. So we got the goats. We started with 2. I quickly added on more. I added on a couple in milk because I really wanted the milk and I wanted to make the cheese. And I wanted Nubians because I like the long ears, or like the high butter fat content and the tasty milk. So when we started looking into it, my fiance, Greg, he had done some research on goats and he was like, all right, registered Nubians is a thing. Did you know about this? If we're gonna start, we've got to start with the best. So let's start with registered stock. They're gonna sell for more. Their babies will sell for more. It will be great. We didn't know that registered animals could be shown. We didn't know that there was a difference between not so great registered animals and really good registered animals. So we just bought anything we could buy that was cheap with papers. So the start of our Nubian herd wasn't the best. We have let go of most of those goats to homesteading homes where they'll do great on those homes. And I believe that they'll make some great babies that eventually could be bred up and shown. But it just wasn't worth us. It wasn't worth it for us to hang on to them here because I have better animals now that I can keep babies out of. And I just can't keep babies out of everybody. So that was the start, was the dream of making cheese. Now that we've been doing it for 4 years and we've grown quickly with all the baby goats. There's the babies. And not only have we grown with goats, but also human children. I've had we got goats with when my first daughter was 6 months old. And then I had another daughter, and now we're having a boy. So we've grown the herd, we've grown the family. I absolutely adore having goats. For the most part, it's been rough. It's a lot of work. There's not a lot of money that's coming from it right now. And there has definitely been times where I have absolutely felt like selling them all. I felt like it's just not worth what we're putting into it. But I couldn't imagine my life without goats. I couldn't. It's been all I've wanted to do. The kids love them. We love them. We're finally starting to do some wholesale cheese sales. So they're finally starting to not pay for themselves, but at least pay for like their grain every week, which is a huge step for us. That's a big bill. And I couldn't see our life without them. So after 4 years of crying and stress and getting my hair chewed on and all the other things that come with dairy goats, I still absolutely love them. I think that a lot of what keeps me or what's kept me in them, or something that people should consider doing before they get dairy animals, is to work on a dairy farm with them. My camera died, of course. But one of the big things that I think is important when getting into dairy goats, or something that I think people should consider doing before they get into them, is working on a farm with them. And it doesn't have to be a large dairy farm. Even the farm I worked on, I mean, it was big. 60 does is a lot, but it wasn't like huge. But it gave me an idea of the type of work and commitment that goes into these animals before I ever purchased them. So at the age of 17, 18, I knew how much work went into these animals and how much time went into these animals, and I fully enjoyed doing that. And I think that a lot of people Can you please stop chewing on my hair? They like the goats. They like the idea of the goats. They like that they can make their own milk, and they think that it's going to save them money when it comes to going to a store and buying raw goat's milk, which can be expensive. And they get into it and they realize that you're not saving money, you're not saving time. It's stressful, it's expensive, it's hard. It's 24/7 labor, a labor of love. But we still love them. 4 years, going on to probably the rest of our lives until I can't do it anymore, is the goal. Oh, come on. A big one that I have a lot of people ask me on our Facebook page is what our goals for our herd are. I don't know if those fans are going to be too noisy in here. Be nice to the babies. I guess I'll go back outside because that fan's going to be noisy. Hey, be nice to the babies. So goals for our herd have obviously changed since the beginning. Beginning goals was to make cheese and sell cheese. And that is definitely still a goal. I want to make cheese, I want to sell cheese. I would like this to be a job that pays for these animals. I would like to think that I could retire Greg early, which I don't think will happen, but maybe. And if not retire him early, I'd at least like to maybe like partially retire him. So he's working like half time instead of like 60 hours a week. He could maybe work like 20 hours a week, and most of our income could come from the goats themselves, because we both enjoy being around the goats and we both enjoy being here on the farm as much as possible, and his time here is very limited. But then when it comes to our herd goals, that's changed a ton, because I'm not just looking for dairy animals that produce the most milk and make cheese. I'm looking for goats, or I want to breed goats that will someday be nationally competitive. I want to go to nationals, maybe not every year because they can be kind of far away, but I want to go to nationals every couple of years. Next year I believe we will be going. I don't know how we'll do. And I want goats with our herd name to be competitive at nationals. I want to have goats that are winning at shows. I want to have goats that are at the front of the line. I want to be producing and selling goats that are doing those things as well. And that's a big goal for us. The cheese making and growing the herd it's still very difficult, but it's not quite as hard. The breeding really nice animals when you started knowing nothing about showing dairy goats is difficult. But I think that we have, at least our La Mancha herd, I think we've got a pretty good start. We've got Blaze, who was first place milking yearling at nationals last year. I think Radiance did she say she was first place junior kid at nationals? Oh, my phone's dead. She was up there at nationals last year as well. Who else do we have? I haven't had DC place. I've only brought her out to one show. We were showing against some of the nationals first place grand champion winners, so it's kind of hard to get her up there in line, but that's the goal. The Nubians, it's going to take a little bit more time because we didn't start with the best stock, but I want to have goats that do well at shows, that milk well. That's another one. Trying to make sure that they're show worthy, but also really high producers, because of course we need the milk for the dairy. And I also want to breed animals that are easy keepers. I don't want an animal that's sick all the time. I don't want an animal that has worm loads all the time. I don't want to be trimming hooves all the time. So there's a lot of goals there when it comes to the dairy goat herd, for sure. But I feel pretty confident about where we are right now and what we're building on. We've got quite a lot of does that are doing great. They made it through the spring without way too much extra care. And we've got some really beautiful babies. Hello, little ones. From this year's kid crop. Got Willow, my artificial insemination doe. These are, that's Tiny and Moonwalk, which are Dance's kids. And these girls are so pretty. I'm so excited to have like an impressive full moon registered animal, 2 of them on the farm. And then of course our little Utah does. They're shipped in from Utah. These girls are super impressive too. These girls will be out at a show this coming weekend. And we've got Daisy, our La Mancha, who she's still not, that hernia is still not healing, so I'm not sure what we're doing with her yet. But those are the goals. That's how we started. This is where we are. Yes, we still love goats. Do I think you should get goats? I think if you think you can enjoy the work and do the work, then yes. I think if you don't want to wake up in the morning and milk goats twice a day every day, and you want to go out and have free time and do your own thing and not be tied to the farm all the time, they're probably not for you. At least dairy goats. Regular goats maybe, meat goats. But yeah, I highly recommend them to people who don't mind the extra work and no the extra milk.